There are calls tonight from people in the Midlands living with long COVID for a better understanding of the condition. It's exactly 5 years since the beginning of the coronavirus outbreak in China. Today, it's estimated around 2 million people in England and Scotland have long COVID. Symptoms include fatigue, aching joints and tinnitus, and it's most prevalent among those aged between 45 and 54. The majority of those with the condition have also reported their symptoms lasting 2 years or longer. For patients, getting help is key, but it's proved difficult. Our science correspondent David Gregory-Kumar has been to one service in Staffordshire, which is trying to make a difference.
My name is Diana Hughes and I have long COVID.
I'm Diane Forrester and I am living with long COVID.
I suffer chronic fatigue syndrome. I have 24/7 headaches since COVID.
No taste or smell for 4 years. I get 3 types of migraines. I get blurred vision.
An NHS clinic in Stone in Staffordshire. Here outside, time moves from autumn to winter. But for the patients inside today, coping with long COVID has left their lives on hold.
I've had many people say to me, well, I've had COVID loads of times, I'm fine, why are you ill? And it is difficult to explain, and I'm sort of saying to people, well, I don't want to be like this. I wouldn't choose to be like this. It's just unfortunate that it happened to me that way.
This long COVID clinic offers specialist help to its 500-odd patients, from support groups to exercise classes. And now patients don't need to be referred by a GP. They can come direct to the clinic.
Ordinarily, we previously accepted referrals just from healthcare professionals and GPs, but now we are accepting self-referrals for our patients. We found it really challenging for our patients to feel listened to by some GP surgeries. So that's the reason why we started self-referrals, because it was just removing that barrier.
The NHS actually stopped publishing regular data about long COVID patients back in April of this year, and a lot of long COVID services have been amalgamated or even closed altogether. But for the patients inside this building, this service really has made a huge difference to them.
I will be ill for every day of my life, but the tools and coping mechanisms and support from the long COVID clinic is invaluable regarding me now learning to adjust to living a completely different way of life.
The aim is for people to manage their symptoms and not for the symptoms to manage them.
And David is with us now. So there's not a magic bullet that these clinics can offer.
No, they can't give you a pill or an injection that will get rid of all your symptoms. Instead, as we heard, what they're offering is support. They will believe you, which can be really important to people. And then they just give you tools. So some people have a free app, they get on with that. That helps them track their health, plan their week, see how strong they're going to be for the next few days. Some people just like the peer support, talking online, talking in person. So these kind of tools really are helpful. And people do get better. People make a good recovery sometimes, particularly young people, we're learning. But for those that don't, this kind of support can be absolutely crucial.
We gathered from your report that GPs aren't always sympathetic.
No, I was surprised by that, to be honest. Of the 2 women we spoke to, one was referred pretty quickly to the service. The other had about 2.5 years of talking to GPs and doctors trying to find somebody who would take her seriously. She said when she finally got through to the long COVID service and they said, "We believe you, we understand," she burst into tears. So it's difficult, and that's why we're seeing self-referral in places like Staffordshire. But when you do self-refer, they will look at your symptoms. You might actually be better off with different types of treatments in different parts of the NHS. You may not have long COVID. They want to be sure about that.
Okay, so what should you do if you feel you have long COVID?
If you've had COVID and don't really feel you're recovering after about a month, then you have to start with your GP. And then you may well also be able to self-refer as well. Look at services online listed on the NHS website. But we've discovered, ringing around, that some of them are closing, coming to an end at the end of the financial year. So these people 5 years on are finding out that not only are GPs and doctors not always taking them seriously, sometimes the services they say could really help them are being brought to an end.
Okay, David, thank you.